Well, it's a gorgeous Libra autumn day at the beginning of October. I'm just tidying up in the garden and well, I kept thinking that some poor creature had met a sticky end, but actually, because I keep seeing feathers everywhere, but actually I've just taken a look at my little chickens and the poor little things are molting. I've got some real bad bulb patches. Anyway, my beautiful ash tree, which is there. Well, I've actually got quite a few ash trees in the garden. At this time of year, it always gives itself a bit of a haircut. So I go out and collect all the sticks because these make excellent kindling. And I usually, over the autumn, what comes down in the wind, it'll last a whole year, the following year. So I'll be using last year's haircut at the minute. Snap them up and then stick them in a box in the woodshed for next year. And it seems the garden's having a beautiful swan song at the minute before the Scorpio autumn comes and blasts us all with more wet and windy weather. The flowers are just looking, some of the flowers are looking the best they've looked all year actually. And the garden is full of bees and wasps and flies because I've got tons of ivy and it's coming into flower. And you can literally hear the hedgerows humming. My nasturtiums are just taking over the pond area, with the tendrils that are just stretching for about 12 feet, some of them. Absolutely amazing. I'm just going to let these go now. Probably won't get many more cuts of the grass, so I shall just let it decorate the grass. Over here, I've been watching this holly bush all year round, right from the tiny little white flowers that first appeared to the green and then orange and now bright red berries. And then soon these will all be gone in a bird's tummy and pooed out elsewhere. And the circle of life will continue. I've got a load of bulbs here. Now's the time to be planting your spring bulbs, so you need to have optimism in your heart and imagine how you want them to look in the spring. So I'm putting out more crocuses, tulips, daffodils, mini irises. Yeah, that's about it. So when you're planting your bulbs, you have to remember that most of the foliage that's down here at the minute, it's not going to be here when your bulbs come up. So you have to kind of imagine it bare and don't worry about how they'll get up, because they will. I've just found under here, let me show you. Got tons of these in the garden. They're so pretty to look at. They have a really nice lily-like kind of flower in the summer or the early spring, and then these big pokers come up with these gorgeous, start initially green and go fiery red. It's called Lords and Ladies and it's absolutely lethal. If you were to eat a part of this, you'd have the most horrific death, and pretty instantly, without much you could do about it. So if you do have these in your garden, admire them, but don't touch them with bare hands. The annoying thing about them is they, once you've got them in the garden, they pop up everywhere, but they are so pretty, and something enjoys them because the berries always get gobbled up. But birds' intestines are totally different to ours, although it's something that happens in the throat when a human eats these. Your throat basically closes up and you suffocate. So keep kids away from these. Right along the edge of my border, I've just found some last blackberries. Now they say you shouldn't eat these after Michaelmas Day, which is the 29th of September. And the reason is because the devil, Lucifer, used to be an angel. And before he went bad, he was quite happy up in heaven. But then there was some kind of power struggle and he got booted out. Anyway, apparently when he landed in a blackberry bush, and he was so upset about everything that he stamped on this blackberry bush and spat on it. And then for good measure, he peed on it. So the story goes that on Michaelmas Day, which is St. Michael, you don't eat blackberries after that day. And really, it's probably because they're a bit past it. They might be a bit maggoty and whatnot, but this one looks really juicy. So I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk a little bit of extra protein, a little bit of devil's pea, and just pop it down the hatch. You know, at this time of year, the queen wasp kicks all the others out, and before she was supplying them with a lovely sweet nectar, and now their supply has been cut off, so they get pretty desperate, wasps do, at this time of year. But it seems that I'm filming this and I can't actually see any anymore, but if one turns up then that's good. It seems that the ivy is a massive source of food for them, and it smells so strong. It's a very pungent, not very pleasant actually smell. Well, I've got the tulips in. There's 50 of those and I've had enough for today because my tummy's rumbling. So I am going to go and saute some onions and mushrooms and radishes and knock that up with some greens and some chickpeas for lunch. And then I am going to go and take my little girl her PE kit because she's forgotten it for football tonight. But so many people commented to me over lockdown that they really got so much enjoyment for doing things in your garden. And as we get back to busyness again, hopefully to stay, try to get a little bit of time in your routine to carry that on, because gardening and playing about with plants is one of the best meditations you can actually do. Not only are you getting the fresh air and filling your cells with oxygenated blood, but you're also surrounded by negative ions, which are good. They're not negative, even though they are negative. So negative ions are the things you feel after a thunderstorm where the air is fresh and your body fills up on positive ions, which aren't good. And throughout the day, from electricity and toxins and bad moods and Wi-Fi and all those kind of electromagnetic frequencies, and being out in nature just brings you back into a negative ionic state, which is really good for cellular health. And for your mental balance. So the Buddhists knew that working on the land was meditative. Snapping sticks, whatever you're doing, try not to put the radio on and just listen to what's happening around you. And the monks knew it too. That's why they always have beautiful monastery gardens. So schedule some time in your garden. Do something that's kind of tedious and menial, where you can just forget about everything else and fill yourself with negative ions. Right, I'm going to go and fill my tummy. Bye.